Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the temple architecture in the South India. In the last lecture, we already studied about the temple architecture in the North India, that is the Nagara style. In the Nagara temple architecture, we studied about three sub-schools. They include Odisha School of Art, and next one is the Khajuraho, and last one is the Solanki. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the temple architecture in the South India. They include the Dravidian style, they include the Hoysala art, Vijayanagara art, Pala and the Sena, so on. So let's get started with our art lecture today. So if you see the temple architecture mainly in the South India, which was began during the time period of the Pallavas. So mainly the Pallava ruler who patronized this South Indian temple architecture was Mahendravarman. So you should remember this name, Mahendravarman. So during this time of the Mahendravarman, we saw the temple architecture of the south was began mainly during the times of the Pallavas. So if you see these temples which are mainly developed during the time of the Pallavas, they reflected the stylistic of the individual rulers that can be classified into four important stages. So the first one include the Mahendravarma, that is a Mahendravarma group or Mahendra group, and the second one was Narasimha group, and the third one was Rajasimha group. Okay, so in this way we are going to study about the four important levels. So if you see the brief introduction regarding the development of the temple architecture in the four stages, mainly in the South India, the first one they called the temples as mandapas, and later on they are called as the rathas in the second stage, and the third stage they are called as the Dravidian style. Okay, so let us see one by one. So the first stage of this Pallava temple architecture called as the Mahendra group, and these were the temples which are built under the Mahendravarman of the Pallava. So it was the first stage of the Pallava temple architecture, and the temples which are built under this Mahendravarman, these are normally called as the rock cut temples. Under him, the temples of these rock cut temples, they are called as the mandapas. If you see what is the difference between the Nagara style and the Pallava style of temple architecture, if you see in the Nagara style, in which the mandapas, they are only used for the assembly halls, correct? So if you see there is any major shrine or the main deity which is present here, here we see the Shikara is present, and these are the extendants or the extension of this temples, these are called as mandapa. We see for this mandapa the shikara will be very low in height, it is called as the Phamasana type, correct? So these are the assembly halls, these mandapas are mainly used for the assembly halls. But if you see in this Pallava temple architecture, these mandapas are the rock cut temples, and they are mainly developed during the first stage of the temple architecture in the Pallavas, and these are patronized by the Mahendravarman. Okay, so this is the first stage. And if you see the second stage, it is called as Narasimha group, and this Narasimha group, which is represented the second stage of the development of the temple architecture mainly in the southern India. And these rock cut temples which are started in the first stage, they were decorated with intrinsicate sculptures. So the development which is happening from the first stage to the second stage is they added intrinsicate sculptures in these temples, and this is patronized under the Narasimhavarman. And the mandapas, they are now divided into separate rathas. So there is a development of the mandapas to rathas that is seen in the second stage of the temple architecture during the Pallava dynasty or the Pallava times. So now these are called as rathas, and if you see, they are the Pancha Pandava rathas. So among them, the first biggest ratha, it is called as Dharmaraja ratha, and the smallest ratha, it is the Draupadi ratha. If you see the design of this temple in the Dravidian style of the architecture, which is a successor of the Dharmaraja ratha, that means we see the Dravidian style that is evolved in the next stage to this Narasimha group, that is in the Rajasimha group, we see there is evolution of the Dravidian style of the temple architecture. So the first stage is mandapas, second stage is rathas, and the third stage we see there is a Dravidian temples or the Dravidian style of the architecture that is present. Is it clear so far? So if you see here, that this image which shows the temples of the Mahabalipuram. They are called as Pancharathas, and the biggest one is the Dharmaraj Ratha and the smallest one is the Draupadi Rathas. So these are the some of the examples for the Rathas which are mainly located in the Mahabalipuram, and this Mahabalipuram which is located in the state of Tamil Nadu. So let us see the third stage of the temple development. It is called as Rajasimha group. Under this third stage, there is a development of the real structure of the temples that is seen. And it started in the place of the rock cut cave temples, and the examples of this stage include the Shore temple. Again, it is present in the Mahabalipuram in the Tamil Nadu. And the next important example is the Kailashnath temple, mainly located in the Kanchipuram. So these are the some examples of the Rajasimha group, that is the third stage of development of the temples. So if you see the diagram here, it is the mainly called as Arjuna Penance, which is mainly located in the Mahabalipuram itself. And this temple, it is the Shore temple, which is mainly located at the Mahabalipuram. And the next important fourth stage of development of the temples during the Pallava times is Nandivarman group. And in this stage, the temples are built mainly in the smaller in size than compared to the third stage, and the important features of this are mostly similar to that of the Dravidian style of temple architecture. And if you see, there is a decline of the Pallava that is seen during this time, and because of the decline of these Pallavas, there is a temple architecture that is acquired a new style under the Chola kingdom. So the first time we see the temple architecture started in the South India during the Pallavas. So the Pallavas will decline. So later on there is a rise of the Cholas is seen. So because of this rise of the Chola, we see the new style of the temple architecture that is evolving. Okay, so whenever we see this Chola kingdom, they started their temple architecture. This type of the architecture which is started by this Chola kingdom, it is called as Dravidian style of the temple architecture. And they started the new era of the temple development in the South India. So why these Cholas are called as Dravidian style? If you see the Vimana, so the Shikara in the North Indian, that is in Nagara style, it is called as Vimana in the Southern Indian, that is Dravidian temple architecture. And this Vimana reached the heights to its climax in the Chola architecture. And if you see, in the later periods, there are other styles also came in the Southern India. They include the Vesara style, they include the Nayaka style, and they include the Vijayanagara style. They also emerged in the Southern India. So let us see the Dravidian style of the temple architecture. It is also called as a Chola architecture. So if you see the name itself, it is saying that it is Chola architecture. So they are under the patronage of the Chola rulers. And we saw there are the hundreds of the temples that were built by this Chola empire, mainly in the Southern India. And it was a continuation of the Pallavas temple architecture with some variations, and that is called as the Chola or the Dravidian style of the temple architecture that was evolved in the Southern India. So these are some of the important introduction regarding the Dravidian style. The first one is the first temple architecture started in the Southern India during the times of the Pallavas. And in the Pallavas, we studied the 4 stages of the development. And the first stage of the development is the Mandapas, and later on Rathas, and later on the Dravidian style, and later on we saw there is a decline of the temple architecture during the Pallavas, and there is a rise of the Cholas. And the rise of the Cholas architecture, it is called as Dravidian style of temple architecture. And in this Dravidian style of temple architecture, it is a continuation of the Pallavas, and we saw there is a small variation that is seen in this Pallava architecture. So if you see some of the important features of this Dravidian style, so this is very important regarding the mains point of view. You may get a direct question regarding the differentiate what are the differences between the Nagara school of architecture and also Dravidian style of temple architecture. So you should remember what are the difference between the Dravidian and the Nagara, and you have to make a small note such that it is very easy for you when you are revising for both the prelims and also the mains. So let us see some of the important features of this Dravidian style of architecture or the Cholas architecture. So if you see the first feature, unlike the Nagara temples, Dravidian temples, they are surrounded by the high boundary walls. So if you see the Nagara temples, they do not have the boundary walls. Okay, but here in this Dravidian, they have the high boundary walls. And the next important feature is the front wall, they had the high entrance gateway, and these high entrance gateways are called as Gopurams. These Gopurams are present in the Dravidian but not in the Nagara. And the next important common feature between the Nagara and the Dravidian is they both follow the Panchayatana style of temple architecture. That means we have the main deity in the centrally, and in the subsidiary sites we have the 4 subsidiary sites. They may include the Ganesha, Surya, Vishnu, etc., Durga, etc. Okay. So under this Dravidian style, the spire is in the form of a stepped pyramid. So if you see the Nagara style, it may be square at the bottom, and it will move in the curvilinear movement, and they will join at this position. But if you see in the Dravidian style, we see there are stepped pyramid and they will move up linearly rather than curved. So we see this type of the spire which is present for this Dravidian style. So there will be no curvilinear inward movement of the spire. So this is the one important difference between the Nagara and also the Dravidian temple architecture. And the next one is the crowning element. It is in the shape of the octagon. So the octagon which have the 8 sides, it is the shape of the octagon. If you see in the Nagara style, here we have the spherical or the spherical disc-like structure. It is called as the Amlaka, correct? So here it is not in the spherical shape, it is in the octagonal shape. So this is also one important difference here. And if you see the only one Vimana which is present in the Dravidian architecture. So if you want to draw the skeletal diagram of the Nagara and the Dravidian, I will draw here. So if you want to make a note, please make a note here. So it is the main deity. Here we see there is a Shikara is present, and here we have the mandapas are present, and under this mandapas there are the small and height Shikaras are present. These are called as Phamasana. And if you see in the Dravidian school, this is the main deity or the main temple, and the Vimana it is like this, correct? It will be not curvilinear, it is like this. And we have the adjacent mandapas are present, and these mandapas do not have any Vimanas. Only we see one Vimana in this Dravidian temple architecture, that is only on the main temple but not on the mandapas. So we see the Phamasana type of the Shikaras that are present in the Nagara style but not in the Dravidian style. So this is the one important difference that you should remember. And the next one is the subsidiary shrines do not have the Vimanas unlike the Nagara style. And the next important difference is the assembly hall that has connected with the Garbhagriha with a narrow passage or the vestibular tunnel, and this is called as Antrala. That means if you have a main temple here and you have the mandapas here, and there will be the small passage here to go into the Garbhagriha or the womb of the temple. So it is called as the Antrala. And the entrance of the Garbhagriha, they had the sculptures of the Dwarapalakas. And if you see in the Nagara, they include the Ganga and the Yamuna, they are the Dwarapalakas that are present. But if you see in the Dravidian, they are the Mithun and the Yakshas are present. So this is also one difference between the Nagara and the Dravidian. And the next important feature is there is a presence of the water tank inside the temple. So if you see the Nagara, they do not have the water tank, but in the Dravidian, they have the water tank. And the important examples here is the Brihadishwara temple, and this Brihadishwara temple which is located in the Tanjavur, and this is built by the king Rajaraja I mainly in the 101 AD. And the next important example is the Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple, and it is built by the Rajendra I to commemorate the victory of the Gangetic Delta. So these are the examples of the temples which are built under this Dravidian style of temple architecture. So you have to remember these examples. And if you see this plan of this Dravidian temple architecture, here you see this is a place in which place we have the temple, and here we have the main temple or the main shrine, and here this part it is called as Garbhagriha, in which there is the deity which is placed and prayers are offered here. And here there is a tower of this temple, it is called as the Vimana, and here there is a small tunnel which is connecting the Garbhagriha, it is called as Antrala. And this is the mandapas, that is the assembly halls mainly, and the entrance it is called as Gopurams. And we see there is a Panchayatana style that is followed in the Dravida style. So here we have the main deity, and there are the 4 subsidiary shrines which are present here, and this shows it is a Panchayatana style of temple architecture. and here we have the water tank. In this water tank, it is commonly called as Koneru in the local language. So this is the important thing. You can draw this diagram whenever you are writing the answer regarding the Dravidian school of art, temple architecture. And if you see, this is the temple, that is the Brihadishwara temple, Tanjavur. Here you can see only one Vimana it is present, and it is a perpendicular. That means you do not see any curvilinear movement of the inwards here. And here if you see this mandapas, there is no shikaras or present here. That is the important difference that can be differentiated from the Dravidian school of art with the Nagara. Okay, so these are some of the important examples, and this is called as the Gopuram. This is the entrance here. So let us see the next important thing, that is the Chola sculpture. Whenever you are reading the book of art and culture, that is the Nitin Singhania, you will come across the Chola sculpture, and one important image that is described in this Chola sculpture is Nataraja image. I did not discuss here. So because we are discussing only the temple architecture, not this Chola sculpture. So if you want to refer this, please open your book and refer about the Nataraja image. So this is the image that was talked in this book. And let us see the other schools of temple architecture. The first important one is the Nayaka school. This Nayaka school, it is also called as the Madurai school. And if you see this Nayaka school, it is flourished during the times of the Nayaka rulers, mainly from the period of the 16th to 18th century AD. And it is commonly called as the Madurai school. So in this Madurai school, we saw there is influence of the Islamic influence as well. So if you see, there are some unique features that are present to this Nayaka school. They include, the first one is the presence of the prakarams. So these prakarams are also called as the huge corridors that are present inside the temple, and they are pillared. Okay, this portico, it is normally pillared portico. This portico, it is mainly supported by the pillars. And around the Garbhagriha, we see this, they have the large prakarams or the huge corridors that are present. And we also see the circumambulatory place or the Pradakshina Patha. It will be the roofed ambulatory passages that are seen in this Nayaka school. And not only that, we can also see the Gopurams which are built under this Nayaka school. They were some of the largest Gopurams. For example, if you see one temple, that is the Meenakshi temple, which is mainly located in the Madurai, and this Gopuram of this temple, it was one of the highest Gopuram in the world, or the tallest Gopuram in the world. And if you see the art of this Gopuram, that reached climax during this Nayaka school. And if you see the temple structures, the one important feature is they were filled with the intricate carvings. So these are some of the features that are very much unique to the Nayaka school. So if you see this temple, that is a Meenakshi temple which is located in the Madurai. So if you see these Gopurams, it is one of the tallest in the world. And here you see the portico which is supported by the pillar here. And we also see the water tank which is present inside the temple. And if you see the next school of art, that is a Vesara school of art. This Vesara school of temple architecture, it is also called as a hybrid model. Why hybrid model? Because it is a combination of both the Nagara and also Dravida. It is mainly seen in the central India. If you want to draw the diagram here, let us take the skeletal diagram here. Here in this area, we see the Nagara school of temple architecture, and here in the southern area, southern India, we see there is a Dravidian, and in the central part, we see the Vesara is present. So because of this Nagara features also present, and we see the Dravida features also present, it is called as a mixed hybrid model. And it is also known as the Karnataka school of art, that is the Karnataka school of architecture. And it was conceptualized mainly under the later Chalukya's rulers from the mid 7th century AD. So it was mainly patronized by the Chalukya rulers. And the next important feature is, it is the combination of both the Nagara school and also the Dravidian school, and it results as a hybridized structure. So it is called as the Vesara school. And if you see some of the important features that are unique to this Vesara school, they made the emphasis on both the Vimana and also the Mandapas. So these are the Mandapas which are the important characteristic of the Nagara school, and the Vimana, it is an important feature of the Dravidian school. And if you see, there is an open ambulatory passway, that is the Pradakshina Path, it is present. And if you see in the Nayaka school, we saw this circumambulatory passway which is a roofed. But in the Vesara, we see this is the open ambulatory passway that is seen. And next one is the pillars, doorways and the ceilings, they were decorated with the intricate carvings. And the three prominent dynasties who made this Vesara temples, they include, the first one is the Chalukyas of the Badami, and the second one is the Rashtrakutas. And in the Rashtrakutas, the example is the Kailash temple, which is located in the cave 16 of the Ellora. We already studied about this Kailash Nath temple, and it was mainly built by the Krishnavan, and it is a 3-storied monolithic temple which is carved from the top to bottom. And the next important dynasty, it is the Hoysala dynasty. And under this Hoysala dynasty, the temples which are built under this, they were Halebeedu temple and the Belur temple, etc. So these are the three important dynasties that made the Vesara style of the temples in the central India. So you have to remember it. The first one is the Chalukyas of the Kalyani and the Badami and the Rashtrakutas, and the next one is the Hoysala dynasty. So if you see some of the temples which were built under this Vesara style, they include Doda Basappa temple, which is mainly located in the Dambal, and also Latkan temple, which is located at the Aihole, and also the temples of the Badami. So these are some of the temples which are built under this Vesara style. So if you see this image, it is the image of the Doda Basappa temple which is present in the Dambal. So this is some of the important example of this Vesara style. And the next one is the Vijayanagara school. And this Vijayanagara school was under the patronage of the Vijayanagara rulers, and they ruled from the 1335 to 1565 AD. And they were mainly patronage of the patrons or the art and also the architecture, with the capital at the Hampi. This Hampi was located in the state of Karnataka. And if you see, they combine the features of the Chola, that is the Dravidian style, and also Hoysalas, and also the Pandyas, Chalukyas, architectural styles in the temple architecture. So if you see the architectural style that has begun, that influenced the Indo-Islamic style of the Bijapur. So if you see, it is some of the mixed temple architecture. It is a mixture of the Cholas, that is the Dravidian style, and also Hoysalas. Hoysalas, one important feature is the stellate or the star plan that is seen. And the next one is the Pandyas and also the Chalukyas. And if you see this architectural style, there is also influence of the Indo-Islamic style of the Bijapur as well. So let us see some of the important features of this temple architecture of the Vijayanagara school. The first one is the walls of these temples, they are highly decorated with the carvings and also geometrical patterns. So if you see these geometrical patterns, it is the influence of the Indo-Islamic style. They may use the different geometrical patterns, okay. And the next one is the gopurams, which are previously present in the front side. Now they are built on all the sides. So if you see in the Dravidian style, we see the gopuram only at the entrance. But in the Vijayanagara style, we see these are gopurams which are present on all the sides. So this is the one important change here. And the next important feature is the monolithic pillar rocks or the rock pillars. They were started using that. This Vijayanagara school of temple architecture, they started using of the monolithic rock pillars. And the next one is generally the temple pillars had the mythical creature. This creature, it is called as Yali. This Yali was started engraving on the temples. So this is the one important feature. We see the mythical creature Yali, which is seen in the Vijayanagara temple architecture. And if you see, the enclosing walls are very much larger. And the next one is there are more than one mandapas, and they were built in each temple. So if you see the central mandapa, it is called as Kalyana Mandapa. This Kalyana Mandapa, it is the creation or the evolution during this Vijayanagara school of temple architecture. If you see 2019 prelims question paper, there was a question regarding the Kalyana Mandapas. So there is a simple question that appeared in the prelims of 2019. So in this way, you should remember each and every feature of the temple architecture such that you can easily gain the marks in the prelims. And the next one is the concept of the secular buildings. They are present mainly in the inside of the temple premises. They are also introduced during this period of the Vijayanagaras. And the next important feature is the temple complex, which was mainly enclosed by the boundaries as the Dravidian school. And if you see some of the famous examples of the temples which are built under this time period was the Vittalaswamy temple complex. So one important feature of this Vittalaswamy temple complex is the shape of this temple, it was a chariot shape. It also have the wheels, and if you see the temple, it look like a chariot. It is called as a stone chariot which is inside the temple of the Vittalaswamy. And the next important example is the Lotus Mahal, and the next one is a Virupaksha temple and Raghunatha temple. They are located at the Hampi. And we also saw the rock cut idol of the Narasimha and also the Shesha at the Hampi. So these are some of the examples which were built under the times of the Vijayanagara. And let us see the next important school of temple architecture, that is the Hoysala art. This is mainly seen in the region of the Karnataka, and this is seen near Mysore. And the temples which are mainly built under these Hoysala rulers, they developed a distinct style of their own. It is known as the Hoysala art. If you see this Hoysala art, it is very much different when compared to the Vijayanagara, when compared to the Dravidian school of temple architecture. And these are mainly developed during the time period of the 1050 to 1300 AD. And they are mainly seen in the sites like the Belur, Halebedu and the Sringeri. So in these areas that you should remember, okay. These are the Belur, Halebedu and the Sringeri. So if you see some of the important features or the unique features of this Hoysala art, they include, the first one is there are the multiple shrines. They are built around the central pillar hall. So the first important one is the multiple shrines. They are built in the centered pillared hall. So if you have a centered pillared hall here, around this we see there are the multiple shrines that are built around this centered pillared hall. And the next important feature is, unlike the crucified ground plan of this Panchayatana style, the shrines which are laid out in the shape of the intrinsically designed star, it is called as a stellate plan. That means if you have a Garbhagriha or the central temple here, the other shrines which are present in the star shaped here. So here there is another shrine, and the next one here we see there is another shrine. Here there is another shrine. Here there is another shrine. Here there is another shrine. So the shrines which are built around this central pillared hall, mainly in the shape of the star. So this type of the design, it is called as stellate design or the stellate plan. And the main stone which is used for the building of this Hoysala temple, they include the soft soap stone. It is also called as chorite schist stone. And the next important feature that is present or unique to this Hoysala art is the massive emphasis which was laid mainly on the decoration of the temples through the sculptures, both the interiorly and also the exterior walls. And even the jewels which are weighed by the deities, they were sculptured one. They are intrinsically carved one. And the next important feature is, all the chambers had the shikras and they were well connected by an arrangement of the horizontal lines and the mouldings as well. So if you see this plan, here they have a one shrine, here the one shrine, here one shrine, here one shrine, and they have connected here mainly through the horizontal things, okay, horizontal lines and also the moulding. So this is the one of the unique and the important feature of the Hoysala art, Hoysala architecture. And the next one is, the temples were built on the upraised platform, and this upraised platform, it is called as Jagati. And the next important one is the walls and the stairs of the temples. They are followed the zigzag pattern. So they are not straight, they follow the zigzag pattern. So if you see some of the temples of this Hoysala architecture, they include Hoysaleswara temple, which is mainly located in the Halebedu, and also the Chennakeswara temple, which is located at the Belur, and the Chennakeswara temple, which is at the Somanadapura. So if you see, this is the temple plan of the Hoysalas. So if you see, we see there is a shrines which are present here, and we see one shrine, we see another shrine which is present here, and these are the subsidiary shrine. Here we see there is a central shrine which is present here, and there are some adjacent shrines which are present, and we see there are the star shaped structure that is present here. So this star shaped plan or the stellate plan, that is the very much unique to this Hoysala architecture. And if you see, this is the Chennakeshwara temple, which is mainly located at the Somnathpura. Here we see there is a central pillar and central pillared hall, and they are connected with the subsidiary in the shape of the star. And here we have the raised platform, it is called as Jagati, and this Jagati, it is a 1 meter high normally. And let us see the next school of temple architecture, that is the Pala and the Sena. So if you see these Palas, they are mainly Buddhist, and if you see this Sena, they are Hindus. So if you see this Pala and the Sena school of architecture, that are mainly seen in the areas of the Bengal. So mainly seen in the Bengal region. This style of architecture, this came to known as the Pala and the Sena school of architecture, mainly seen in the Bengal region. And this was developed mainly during the time period of the 8th and the 12th century AD, mainly under the patronage of the Pala dynasty and also the Sena dynasty. And the Palas were the primarily Buddhist, as I said earlier, and they follow the Mahayana Buddhism. Okay. So they are following the Buddhist and they are following the Mahayana Buddhism. The kings who are present in the Pala dynasty, that is the Pala king, they started building the lot of viharas, lot of chaitas, that is the prayer halls, and also the resting or residential halls, mainly for the Buddhist monks, and also the stupas. So if you see these Senas were the Hindus, and they started building of the Hindu gods. And also we saw there is a sustained Buddhist tradition that are seen in this Pala and the Sena dynasty. And if you see, thus architecture reflected both the Hinduism and also the Buddhism, and we see there is an influence of this both religions seen in this temple architecture developed during the Pala and the Sena dynasty. And if you see, this is one of the important specimen of the Pala art. If you see the specimen, the temple in this period which was developed during this Pala and the Sena dynasty, we see there is influence of both the Buddhist art and architecture, and also the temple architecture. Okay, so this is one of the important specimen of the Pala art. So if you see, there are the majorly some of the important monuments that were developed under this Pala. They include the universities of the Nalanda, the University of the Jagadala, and Udantapuri, and also the Vikramshila. So these are the four important dynasties. These are the four important universities that were mainly developed during the time of the Palas, and also some other magnificent monasteries like the Sompura Mahavira. Okay, Sompura Mahavihara, it is one of the important magnificent monastery which is developed in the Bangladesh by mainly the Sena rulers. And the next important temple which was built in the Bangladesh was Daksheshwari temple, and this Daksheshwari temple, it is the architecture of the Sena rulers. And if you see some of the features of the Sena ruler architecture, that include the buildings have the curved or the sloping roof, as in the bamboo huts. If you see the bamboo huts, this will be like this, correct? So these are the slopes were very much curved, and we also see the slopy roof, such that if at all any rain happened, the water will seep down. So this type of the roof which is seen in this type of the architecture, mainly built by the Sena rulers. And this type of the roof, it is called as Bangla roof. This Bangla roof, it is one of the important feature of the Sena architecture, or the Pala and the Sena architecture. And later on, this Bangla roof, which is adopted by the Mughal rulers as well. And if you see, for the building of these temples, they mainly use the burnt bricks and also the kiri. They are also known as the terracotta bricks. So the principal material that is used for the building of the temples during the Pala and the Sena time was the burnt bricks or the terracotta bricks. And the temples in this region, they had the tal and also the curving shikara. They are crowned by the large amlaka, which is similar to that of the Odisha school. So if you see this Odisha school, it is mainly belong to the Nagara style. So we see there is influence of the Nagara temple architecture in this Pala and the Sena architecture. The influence is the curving shikaras are present, and also the amlaka which is present at the top of this shikara. And if you see, for the sculptures of this region, both the stone as well as the metal was used, and the stone was a major component for the engraving of the sculptures on these temples. And the next important one is the figures were unique and they were highly lustrous finish. They are very smooth and shiny. And some of the examples of these temples which are built under this Pala and the Sena dynasty was Siddheshwara Mahadeva temple, which is mainly located in the Barakar, and also some temples around the Bishnupur in the West Bengal. So these are some of the examples of the temples which are built by the Pala and the Sena rulers. So by this we concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like, share and comment my videos. Thank you.